It's time for the Avista NAIA World Series preview, taking you behind the scenes, into the dugouts, sponsored by P1FCU, Tri-State Hospital, Clarkston Auto Sales,
Well, it is that special time of the year. The NAIA World Series kicks off on Friday night. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brady Frederick.
And I'm Jordan Smith. And we have every angle to get you ready for this week's action, from the top teams across the NAIA arriving in Lewiston to the hometown Lewis-Clark State Warriors.
And Jordan, this has been a special team this season. They've broken records, they've had hard-fought battles, and this is the moment they've been training for since a semifinal round exit last year. Now, even with their high hopes and limitless ambitions for tomorrow night, the journey to get here has been just as important. Let's start with a look back at what has been a thrilling season so far.
For the Warriors, it was a familiar start to the season. A break from the snow, and a trip to the sunny Southwest to take on some of the best programs in the country.
Great opportunity for some great competition. It was really enjoyable, just being in good weather.
I think it's instrumental with our season moving forward. It's a quick test for us right away to see where we are, what we need to work on moving forward, but we were happy the last couple of years with our success.
Returning to Lewiston with a 7-1 record, the Warriors continue to tear up the competition in Cascade Conference play.
You know, whoever gets it started, it could be anyone 1 through 9 in our lineup, and whoever's next is going to follow.
They racked up win after win, even beating out NCAA Division II and III opponents. The season start soon turned from exceptional to historic.
Pretty soon you look up and we'd won 20 games in a row, and then it kept going and ended up finally getting that 28th one.
With 28 wins in a row, Lewis-Clark State had set a new program record, beating out the Warriors of 1986.
With a solo shot to center field.
It was a special deal to be a part of. Like we told our players that when you're breaking records in this program, when you do something that nobody has ever done before, it's a pretty special thing.
But even after making history, they kept their focus on winning the final game of the season.
I don't think any of us were really worried about the records. It's not really what we play for. We come here to try and win the World Series title, so that was our main focus all year.
The Warriors swept the Cascade Conference tournament, winning their second straight title. Now they entered uncharted waters, the NAIA opening round.
4 more games that we got to play. It's 4 more games for our pitching staff, 4 more games of at-bats for our hitters.
For decades, Lewis-Clark State enjoyed an automatic bid to the NAIA World Series. But this year, they would have to win their way to the top 10.
A lot of NAIA teams in the country were glad that we had to play our way in, and I think we really thrived through it.
And they did from the start. Averaging over 13 runs per game and standing 1 win away from another tournament sweep. But facing off with British Columbia for the 8th time in the season, a 5-run 8th inning would lead to their first loss in 12 games.
The coaches said, you know, once you go home from the ballpark tonight, you kind of got to forget about it. Today was in the past. Got to look forward to tomorrow.
We know it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and it's how you respond to adversity. And we decided collectively that there was nothing that was going to get in our way. Whatever came at us, we were just going to keep going.
Now the season was on the line. America versus Canada. The winner headed to the World Series.
I think we all woke up ready to go, and we knew we wanted to win, and everyone had that mindset that we were going to. So
British Columbia would strike first with 3 runs in the first frame, but the Warriors were unfazed.
We were waiting for that moment to spark up, try to get that momentum. Sam being Sam, you know, he's going to do his thing, and we kind of knew that him up to bat at that moment was key for us.
It didn't take long for an answer.
Just no pressure. One of our main things all year is just not to press and just kind of do what we do and compete every game, every at-bat.
And every pitch. With a full count and the bases loaded in the 7th, Dawson Day felt the weight of the season on his shoulders.
Obviously not the situation you want to be in, but when those things kind of happen, you kind of just got to bear down and, you know, make your best pitch and hit a spot and see what happens. Yeah, it was definitely a big relief to get a swing and miss there. It's just a good feeling, seeing the crowd all excited.
It proved to be the final boost of momentum they needed. Zach Threlfall immediately sent one out of the yard. And the Warriors held on to win it.
Going down 3-0 early, never a doubt that we were going to come back and win this game. I trust everyone, the work we put in this year. I've seen everyone do it every single day, relentlessly come out here and just work hard and play hard, and that's what we did today, and I knew we were going to do that no matter what.
Lewis Clark State's streak of entering the World Series is still alive, but this time they did it the hard way.
We're battle tested. We've been through it. That was tense. The World Series is going to be exactly the same, so I think it'll be beneficial for us in the upcoming couple weeks.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, Brady, after talking with so many players and so many teams this week, we obviously know how much this tournament means to those players. But what's so remarkable is the impact that this tournament has on the community. I sat down with numerous community members who tell me that this is an integral part of life in Lewiston.
From the moment Harris Field became the landing spot for the NAIA World Series, there's been an unparalleled level of support from fans all across the region.
Back then, when we first had the series in the 80s, the community embraced it. It left, and then it came back in 2000, and the community has done so ever since.
Over the years, the tournament has traveled to various cities. The experience was less than memorable.
You know, I've been in a couple of these other ones. I was in Nashville, I was in the Lubbock one, and by far this is the best one, the best national tournament around.
Yeah, I know I don't look that old, but I have been doing it quite a while, yeah. In fact, I think I've seen a championship game where 100 people attended.
In Lewiston, it's a different story. Fans pack themselves inside the bleachers, providing an electric atmosphere from start to finish. It's a foreign experience to most teams, aside from the Warriors.
And what I really appreciate here, whether the local team, Lewis Clark State, is in the World Series final or not, we'll get 2,000 to 2,500. And I think that's great for the teams that come here to compete, to make it a national event where they're not playing in front of just family and friends, but they're playing in front of real baseball fans here in the town.
The most remarkable component of the tournament, however, might just be the connections these players make with the youngest fans at the ballpark. Kids get a chance to meet players on Harris Field, where they learn firsthand the basic fundamentals of the sport.
Throw it overhand for me. Throw that guy there. Yeah, good.
The kids can come onto the field with all the players. Players play catch with them. They show them how to swing and hit a ball and how to pitch. So the kids get to see that, hey, these are just big kids that like to play with us, and we might be able to go watch them at that big stadium down by the college.
And in some instances, these interactions lead to lasting relationships.
You know, we've had a few instances where, you know, the teams come back and they look for a certain kid, or they want to go to a certain school again because they made a connection themselves.
The players giving back to the local fans who care so much.
Now, one of the best things about the Lewis Clark State Warriors is the number of local players who are on the team. They grow up watching the success of the program, seeing the World Series as a fan, and then they get to pick up a jersey themselves. Here's a look at some of the local standouts who now represent the LC Valley on the national stage.
Something I always dreamed of growing up, seeing those guys, you know, how much fun they had, how much success they had, and now being able to live that is a great experience.
I mean, growing up, watching the Warriors play, watching them win 3 in a row, wearing this uniform every day and being able to come out here and perform it's awesome.
For the past 4 years, Riley Way, AJ Davis, and Luke White have lived out their childhood dreams. The LC Valley natives have held down the infield for the Warriors. Now they prepare for one last ride.
This program builds lifelong friendships, and I'm excited to go to war with these guys in the next couple of weeks.
They've grown up playing together. They've even won an American Legion championship in high school.
Luke White hits it straight to center left field for extra bases.
So the chemistry has been years in the making, especially in the middle infield.
I guess ever since then we've just kind of had a good bond and relationship up the middle, so it's been awesome playing with him here.
It's definitely easy on my part to know when a ball is hit to him and we're trying to roll a double play. I can trust him, he can trust me, and so it works out perfectly.
All three of those guys have been absolutely mainstays in our program. They're fantastic people, they're fantastic young men. They excel in the classroom, in the community, and of course on the baseball field, so I think it's tremendous for the Valley.
The tradition continues. Sophomore Jaden Phillips made his first World Series roster this season, following in the footsteps of his dad and uncle, who both won national titles with the Warriors in the 80s.
It's pretty special, especially growing up in the area. I got to watch all the games, and having family that played here before and were so successful, it's just awesome to follow in their footsteps.
And smaller towns like Genesee are on the map as well. Sophomore Coy Stout broke into the rotation this season.
It meant a lot to me. I was just very thankful for this opportunity to come here to LC, and I know a lot of people in the community were proud and happy for me too.
More evidence of the baseball talent you'll find in the LC Valley and surrounding communities.
I hope I can be a role model for some of these guys and some of these kids growing up in the Valley.
It kind of shows the younger generation going through Lewiston High School that they have the capabilities to be able to play at the next level, be able to play for the Warriors.
Coach Jake Taylor is right. It is a great group of players representing their hometowns. But this week, we are seeing top talent from all corners of the country.
That's right, Brady. We will dive right into the bracket, starting out with the best, at least in the eyes of the NAIA polls, with the top 2 seeds that will enjoy a first-round bye.
Well, we'll start out with the #1 ranked team in the nation, the Southeastern Fire. The Florida team has become a powerhouse. In 2018, they won the World Series in their first trip to Lewiston, and they've been back every year since. This year, the squad has a 54-3 record. They've swept the Upland opening round bracket to carry a 17-game winning streak into the tournament. Their batters rank 2nd in hits and 3rd in home runs, while their pitching staff leads the nation in strikeouts. Last year, it was Lewis Clark State who sent them home, but with an early round bye, they look to stretch a lot further.
And right behind them at the #2 seed, it's the 2019 national champs, Tennessee Wesleyan. They missed out on the series last year, but boy, are they bringing the heat this year. They're coming into Lewiston with a 54-6 record. And a big reason why is their power behind the plate. The team hit the 4th highest amount of home runs in the NAIA this season with 105. They had the 3rd highest amount of hits in the league, so be on the lookout for some offensive firepower from the Bulldogs. Welcome back, everybody. Well, baseball seems to generate a lot of unforgettable father-son moments. It's a part of what makes this sport so great. And during this World Series tournament, the father of LCSC closer Greg Blackman is going to be watching his son chase a national championship 20 years after he accomplished that goal himself, while also playing for the Warriors.
The magic of baseball is that things can change with a single pitch. The sport is filled with high-pressure situations, and when those moments arrive, junior relief pitcher Greg Blackman welcomes the adversity.
I really like that aspect to the game. I really like to come in, have some adrenaline, be in big situations.
Greg has made a name for himself as an effective closer for LC, though it's hardly surprising given the footsteps that he's following.
I was actually an incoming freshman. Played 4 years and got 3 national championships.
You just heard from Greg Blackman Sr., Greg's father, a former pitcher for LCSC whose resume bolsters 3 of LC's 19 national championships. 20 years since he won the World Series, he's watching his son chase the same dream at the same school in the same position.
It's pretty special. It really is, and that's kind of why I really wanted him to come here to feel, what I felt when I was here for 4 years,
When it comes to being a legacy player, Greg III, or GT as he's known in the dugout, tells us it's an honor to share the same field his father made history on, though GT is forging his own path and feeling the support from the bleachers.
It really means a lot. I know after we won the regional, I got a text from my dad, and he was like, you guys just solidified those other 19 national championships that everyone else didn't have to play in for.
Greg tells us that his dad's success has given him an edge. He's offered advice on what to expect in this tournament and how to stay composed on the mound.
I would say definitely last year with my first World Series, yeah, he gave me some tips, just don't look up, you know, stuff like that. But this year he's kind of left it more up to me. I have a little more experience, and I feel like I'm here for the other guys. So
before we parted ways, I asked GT what it would mean to him to be able to lift that trophy at the end of the season.
I don't think I can put that in words. I hope I get to do that, but that's what we worked for all year, so I just can't wait to dog pile.
He's hoping to join an elite group of company and continue a family tradition unlike any other.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain seated?
And we're excited to see GT on the bump this weekend, but to get a championship, he's going to have to go through some tough competition, Brady.
That's absolutely right, Jordan. And here's a look at one of them coming in at the number 4 seed. It's a familiar group from last year, the LSU Shreveport Pilots. The Pilots qualified for the World Series for the 5th time in program history after posting a 51-6 record. Now, this team can handle some adversity. They lost the first game of the Shreveport bracket, but they worked their way all the way through the losers bracket and eventually came out on top. And as you can see, they did it with a walk-off home run. Now, you can expect to see some scoring from these guys. They lead the NAIA in total runs, and they rank 2nd in triples. On the other side, they rank top 5 in fielding percentage, and they have the 5th lowest earned run average. Plus, they have a pretty great dance they do to hype up the fans.
We're going to love to see that here in Lewiston. Behind them at the 5 seed, we've got the Bellevue Bruins, who punched their ticket to Lewiston after a dominant season. The Bruins are another talented team at the plate. They're ranked 4th in the NAIA in total hits with 695 of them. This trip to Lewiston marks the 15th time the program has made an appearance in the World Series, their first trip back since 2019. Now they're hungry for another championship. The last time they won the World Series was their lone title back in 1995.
And at the number 6 seed, it's the Westmont Warriors. They will be Lewis Clark State's first matchup on Friday night. The two teams actually opened up this season playing against each other. Lewis Clark State won it back then. Westmont, after that, though, went on a 17-game winning streak. The Warriors from California would go on to post a 45-11 record, dominating opponents as they swept through the Santa Barbara bracket and earned their first ever bid to the NAIA World Series. Welcome back. We still have 5 more teams to preview, including the hometown heroes, Lewis Clark State. So let's dive right in. At the 7 seed, there are 3 certainties: death, taxes, and Faulkner in the NAIA World Series. This is the 9th straight trip to Lewiston for the Eagles. And if Lewis Clark State has a rival, it would have to be these guys. They've met in the title game 3 times. Faulkner won it in 2013. LCSC got revenge in 2016 and 17. This year, Faulkner started off with a 2-7 record, but turned it around. And a team with this kind of success, they're not going away easily.
And behind them at the 8th seed, Lewiston is welcoming back the defending national champions, Georgia Gwinnett. They won their first World Series championship in program history last season, and they're looking to repeat this year. The Grizzlies bolster a 45-14 record and are riding an 8-game winning streak heading into this tournament. A great reason why: they have some excellent pitching. They're tied with LCSC with the best ERA in baseball at 3.01. And they look for them to bring the heat from the mound.
And at the number 9 seed, it's Mid-America Nazarene, the Pioneers. They upset the 3rd-ranked team in the nation, Oklahoma City, twice to win the opening round. They now have a 39-16 record, and consistency has been key this season. Each player is batting about .350, averaging 8 home runs and over 40 RBIs. They also have a starting pitching staff that averages a strikeout per inning and a solid bullpen that has kept them in every game.
And rounding out this year's tournament is the 10th-seeded Weber International Warriors. The Warriors clinching their first trip to the World Series after a convincing 17-6 win over St. Thomas, a team who was ranked 8th in the country before falling to Weber International. The player to watch is Tyron Miller. This sophomore has been red hot at the plate, batting .335 with 44 runs batted in. Despite being the low seed, they're excited to show what they can do in their first trip to Lewiston.
And Jordan, of course, we have saved the best for last, the most storied program in the NAIA. The foundation has been laid by the late, great Ed Sheff, one of the best coaches not only in college baseball, but baseball at large. The Warriors have carried on his traditions, and they've won 19 World Series titles. Now, 19 is pretty sweet, but 20 would be a whole lot sweeter.
You're exactly right. And after a heartbreaking finish in last year's tournament, the Warriors are looking for vengeance, coming to continue their legacy of being the most dominant program in NAIA history.
It was 51 weeks ago that the LCSC Warriors saw their dreams of a title come to an end.
Definitely remember the feeling of going home, and there's definitely some lingering feelings.
That loss fueling another dominant season on the diamond.
Ever since I've got here, it's you earn everything you get, and you have to work for everything you earn.
So much of the sport of baseball is built on tradition. For LCSC, that tradition is winning.
I would say every year coming into the season, coming into the fall, coaches and players, we all expect to be in that national championship to get that ring.
But as head coach Jake Taylor knows all too well, clinching that championship is no easy task.
It's extremely difficult. There's going to be some fantastic teams here, and sometimes it comes down to somebody stepping up and getting a big two-out knock or closing the door, the bases loaded. It becomes baseball at that point.
Though veteran Aiden Nagel says this Warriors team is poised to answer the call.
Every spot in the lineup can change a game with power. Every spot in the lineup can work a count and get on base if we need to.
And on the defensive side of the ball, the bullpen stands ready to attack the nation's best hitters.
We have some of the best relievers in the nation, and you can put them in any situation and they'll get out of it.
The Warriors have broken records and taken care of business. Their eyes now on securing number 20.
It's going to be a great opportunity for us as a team to go out and show what we've been working on this entire year and show that we are who we say we are.
Well, that wraps up our World Series preview. Thanks again for joining us. And remember, whether you're a Lewiston local cheering on the Warriors or one of the many faithful fans making the trip, we are all in this together this week, cheering for some clear skies.
Absolutely no rain delays here, Brady. Now remember, we will be working hard to get the highlights and updates in each of our 5, 6, and 11 o'clock newscasts. So we'll be with you every step of the way. But for now, let's play ball.